Hello, and welcome to my podcast. It's called Coffee and Commiseration, except today it's wine and wisdom, maybe, because I couldn't figure out how to get the camera and the microphone to work until my teenager got home from school. So I have been wanting to do a podcast for a while. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kay Steinsapir. I feel like probably anyone who's tuning in at this point knows me very well. I'm 48 years old. I've had quite a 48 years thus far, such that I feel like I kind of have a lot of things I want to talk about. I just kind of in a nutshell. I'm from Fresno, California. I grew up there. I moved to Oakland, where I attended Mills College, which is an all-women's college. And then I moved to Los Angeles for law school. That's where I met my husband, John, and we have 3 kids. We have Molly, Nate, and Eli. And most of you know me because our daughter Molly passed away. She was killed in an accident 4 years ago, almost exactly. So a lot of people know me from that. I also battled breast cancer and went through quite an ordeal, still do, with that. So a lot of people know me from the breast cancer world. So I thought that I would, a lot of people have encouraged me to do a podcast for a long time. And I kind of felt like there's so many out there. What can my voice really add to all the voices that are already doing it? But, why not? I look at it as kind of like, so just recently, we're from Pacific Palisades, so our town just burnt down, as many of you know. And I, through the Molly Steinsapir Foundation, which is the 501c3 that we set up to honor our daughter Molly, we set up this community room where people, and last week was our first meeting, so, we're just starting out. But my idea was, let me just create a space and bring people together. On the one hand, anyone who needs any sort of help with anything. And on the other hand, everyone who wants to help and participate in the recovery and be part of the community in some way. So very sort of open-ended. And I didn't know how it would go. But we had our first meeting last Friday at the Team Molly community room, and it went so well. We had a lot of turnout. We, although I didn't really have any structure, we were super productive. It was supposed to be from 2 to 5, but people were there past 6:30. So it was great. And just like now, I had wine, I had cheese. In fact, I'm still eating some of it right here. And it was awesome. It really was. So I kind of feel like that about this, that I put out a video over the weekend because I wanted to write something, but my hand is all messed up from when I had cancer. When I had cancer, I had 3 tumors in my breast, as well as like lymph nodes under my arm that were totally encased in tumor. So that's really bad. But I'm 8 years out, and no evidence of disease. So cheers to that. But it did cause damage in my hand because it pressed on my nerves, and the nerve damage is pretty much permanent, I think. Anyway, so it makes it such that it's easier for me to talk than it is for me to write, which is what I really love to do. So over the weekend, I was sitting at the computer. I wanted to write something, and my hand was bothering me. So I said, okay, I'll just do a video. I'm sorry, can you hear that squeaking in the background? This is not going to be a professional production, guys. That's the dog. That's Dax, our puppy. He's playing with his toy and wanting somebody to play with him. Anyway, so I decided to just film a video. I've been really involved with the fire recovery process in the Palisades, just sort of trying to help wherever I can. And I was just sitting, here in my bathrobe and just turned the camera on myself because I couldn't write. And it actually was pretty good. Like I don't really love, being on camera and like not being made up in any way, just like kind of not wearing any makeup, not having my hair done or whatever. But I'm going to have to let go of that. I am letting go of that. All I have on is a little lip gloss right now, which, obviously shouldn't matter. But like anybody, I could be self-conscious, right? Like nobody likes to hear their voice recorded. Nobody likes to look at themselves on camera. Nevertheless, I did it and got over my qualms, and I put it out, and it helped people. And my feeling is, if what I share helps one person, that's enough for me. I'm not doing this for any reason other than it helps me find meaning in the very difficult things I've had to go through. When I can share it with someone else and someone says, that you really put my feelings into words. You really said something that I needed to hear. I read a lot of things, and what you wrote was sort of the only thing that was what I needed, that captured my feelings, or whatever the case may be. So if one person follows along and finds this at all beneficial, then I have achieved my goal. So here is the inaugural episode. What did I call it? Coffee and Commiseration. It was kind of off the cuff. It was totally off the cuff. I didn't even consider any other options. But so today it's wine and commiseration. I'm going to do it every morning. This is my idea, because I'm just going to keep it simple. So just like the community room, I just said, okay, every Friday, 2 to 5, we're going to be there. Come and we will do our thing. Like, we will help each other. We'll get each other through this. We'll work on the most pressing projects facing our community, and we'll just be together. So that's how I feel about this. So every morning, 10 a.m., this is my plan, I will record an episode of Coffee and Commiseration. I just started writing on Substack recently, and I figured out, I can just do a podcast on here. I had been talking about it with a friend of mine who's in the entertainment world and all of that, and trying to figure out how to go to a studio and all of these things. And it's in today's day and age, who needs any of that? We have the benefit, or I don't know, or all the bad things that come along with technology. But certainly there are benefits, right? So, hey, I can just sit here and make my own podcast, and I don't need it to be something that is, whatever, like a professional thing. I'm just going to do it myself. And that means it's going to be raw. It's going to be unedited. It is going to be vulnerable. It's going to be messy. I'm not going to express myself perfectly. And so you'll have to bear with me and assume good faith always. And I'm always so happy to have a dialogue with people who are respectful and who offer differing points of views. As many of you know about me, I'm very engaged politically. I have my own views about things, and I'm never very quiet about them. But I am certainly very interested in hearing other points of view. I welcome that. That's how we learn, and that's what you'll see here on my podcast. I want this to be something where what is primarily featured are just regular people, ordinary people with their interesting day-to-day issues and struggles, and having a platform for that, because every time I listen to a podcast, I feel like all I hear are podcasters interviewing other people with podcasts or people who have written books, which is very interesting. But I think there's a lot of untapped voices that should be heard as well. And they are people who are just living life. They are not people who have written books or, been so fortunate as to become successful with a podcast. So that's the plan. Every day, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I think there's some way on here that you can watch it after the fact. I'm sure my teenager will help me figure that out too. So until tomorrow at 10, hope you have a good night. Cheers.